Alright, for this project we're going to be making a GoPro mount for a Nerf bar or roll bar or just pretty much anything. You'll see what it looks like in the end, so if you wanted to change the size it's really easy to do. You just got to get the right stuff. One of the things you're going to need is a 1/4 inch machine bolt, 20 thread, about 3/4 of an inch long. That's the basic bolt for any kind of tripod mount, and it's the one that the GoPro uses. So you're going to need that. You're going to need some nuts and washers to use as spacers. Next you're going to need to go into the plumbing section and get a PVC tee along with a cap that fits in there. Now the size doesn't really matter. It depends what you're mounting it onto. You can get any size you want. The rest of the video is pretty much the same thing. If you want to mount it on something smaller, you get it smaller. I'm mounting it on a Jeep roll cage, so that's why I got the larger piece. Now in the same area, should be by the plumbing equipment, you're going to get yourself some adjustable stainless steel clamps. Again, the size depends on what size PVC you grab and what you're mounting it onto. Just remember that you get a large enough set. You're going to need at least 2 of them. One for each side of the PVC to mount them on. The first thing you're going to do is drill a little pilot hole in the center of the cap. That way when you drill the larger hole it doesn't move around on you. You just got to remember that the second hole you drill, you don't want it to be the same size or larger than the bolt you got. You want it to be a really tight fit so it stays secure. Then the next thing you're going to do is take any washers and nuts you got and make sure you space. You put them on the spacers and then put the bolt through. You're going to have to, I use the drill for this to get it really tight, and you don't want the bolt to stick out more than like 1/4 of an inch or so. You want it to be out just enough to screw the GoPro or whatever you're mounting on. That way you can have room to tighten it, because if you have it out too far it's not going to tighten down against the cap and it could come loose. Now you're going to have to cut that other PVC in half. Doesn't have to be perfect, you know. You can use a handsaw or a Dremel. The easiest thing to use is a bandsaw or something. I used a handsaw because it's like 10 degrees outside and I didn't feel like going out. After you've got that done, you can press the cap into place. I didn't mention it before, but you could do the kind that either just presses in or the kind that screws in. It really doesn't matter. You can use glue if you want, but once you press these things into place, they usually don't come apart. So I mean, you can use glue. I didn't bother. Yeah, you can see underneath, you can still see the bolt if you want to adjust it after you put the camera on. If you can't get it facing the right direction, you can tighten it and adjust it there. The next thing I do is I glue this rubber stuff and put it on the inside. That way it acts as a shock absorber and prevents the mount from sliding around. I don't know what that stuff is. I just kind of found it in my garage. I don't really know what the stuff is. It's a lot like a bike tubing, like that kind of rubbery material. I mean, you can use foam or any other stuff. This stuff holds up nice. If you use something like foam, once you tighten it down and after you take it off, it might like rip up. Then when you're done and you're ready to mount it, you just take the adjustable straps and put one on each end and tighten it down to whatever you're putting it on. I have painted these in the past. You know, it's just PVC, so the stuff might chip off, but if you want to paint it black or something, or whatever color you're mounting it onto to make it a little less noticeable. I usually use these on Jeeps. I've had it on my quad before, a dirt bike, and I think I also had it on a Yamaha Rhino. I made these because I didn't feel like spending the money to buy any of the legit mounting equipment for roll bars and stuff. I didn't really like it. It seemed too small, flimsy, I could shake around too easy. And most of the stuff I'm doing, I'm whipping by trees, and if it gets smacked, it's going to go flying off or break. These things are very, very sturdy. I've hit them against trees, I've hit the camera against stuff, and it doesn't move. And you can get that stuff nice and tight. You can move them all over the place. You can do different sizes to mount them different places. In the end, this probably only cost me about $8 or so. I think I spent like 20, but that's because I bought like the bulk packs of bolts and clamps and stuff because I have built a couple of these. So you know, in the end, you get a much sturdier mount and a lot cheaper than buying any of the legit mounting equipment. So yeah, that's how I build my GoPro roll bar mount.